Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. First of all, if you are new here, I post a lot of book reviews on both fiction and nonfiction books. So if you like book reviews, if you like getting reading inspiration, if you like knowing what other people are reading, then feel free to stick around. I also post study inspiration and study with me's if those are also interesting to you. Now let's talk about today's book. Today, I'm going to be reviewing volume 14 in a series that I have been reading for a while, and that is the series No Matter How I Look at It, It's You Guys' Fault I'm Not Popular by Nico Tanigawa. So this is what the cover looks like, and I am on volume 14 of the series. Technically, this is a reread. I read the series all the way through volume 16 back in 2021, but then I moved and switched library districts and I kind of lost this series. So I am rereading this series all the way through this time, and I am reviewing volume 14 in this video. So as a brief recap of what has been going on in the series thus far, we are following our main character, who is this girl right here in the middle named Tomoko. Tomoko went to high school assuming that things were going to be just like the video games that she loved playing. She was going to have a bunch of friends, she was going to be cute, she was going to become popular, she was going to live out her dream high school experience. However, when Tomoko got to high school, things did not always work out the way she envisioned it in her mind. So she is a very awkward and anxious person overall, and she didn't really make those key connections at the beginning of high school, and for a good portion of her first year and her second year, she was socially isolated, she was lonely, she was outside the main groups that formed in her class, and she started doing this downward spiral where she would judge and condemn the very things that she wanted, making her or causing her to be more lonely, or she would say something embarrassing and that would cause her to be a little awkward and then be more isolated. And basically Tomoko really struggled to connect with her classmates, her friends, to even make friends. However, things started changing around the time of the class trip, and Tomoko has slowly but surely been growing. I feel like this series really focuses on growth of a person, but in a way that is very realistic. Usually if you want to change a personality or a character trait, or you want to drop a bad habit, it doesn't just take one time or one day to fix it all. Usually, sometimes you do, some people do quit things cold turkey, some people decide to make a change and it's so radical that they just change that very same day. But most people, when we want to make improvements in our life, we have lots of little stops and starts, we have a little false starts, we have tumbles, we take steps back. And this series I really enjoy because our main character, again Tomoko, is growing as a person. She's learning how to connect with the people around her, she's making friends, she is developing personal skills, and it's all done in a way that's realistic. Tomoko doesn't wake up overnight and all of a sudden she is perceived as incredibly beautiful, and she's friends with everyone in the class, and she has 4 boys who are just giving her chocolates and roses, which I feel like sometimes mangas, which there's nothing wrong with this, they do kind of sometimes, not all of them, some of them can tend to be a little unrealistic in that regard, where everything works out perfectly for the protagonist. Things don't always work out perfectly for the protagonist in this series. However, we are a little further in the series, and Tomoko has grown a lot as a person. In this series, we are post their senior or third year class trip, and Tomoko has developed those connections through her various class trips and through different interactions she's had in the last couple volumes, that she really has a group of people that she can spend time with at school, which is a massive development. I think the covers of this series show this quite well. In the beginning series, there were not this many people on the cover because Tomoko didn't know that many people, but as the series has progressed, more people tend to be on the cover of the volumes because Tomoko knows more people. I do find that because the growth is incremental and the growth is realistic and includes areas where Tomoko is weak, one thing that I feel like came to a fore in volume 14 is she still kind of struggles with friendships with the girls that she's around, particularly because they are not, she still judges things. She has that idea that like girly things are bad. She's judging, for example, a magazine. She thinks everyone who reads these magazines, she just doesn't find like the fashion magazines or the beauty magazines. Someone suggests she read something in it and she's reading it and she realizes she had judged the magazines as one way and they actually had some useful advice. So I feel like she sometimes still struggles to relate to these people, and I feel like a echo of the coping mechanism she had in previous volumes, where she would judge someone for doing something that she actually wanted. For example, she actually wanted to, I don't know, dress a certain way or look cute, but then she would judge someone when she saw a girl dressed that way and think that she was just an airhead and really stupid and just trying to get boys' attention. So she would judge the thing or condemn the thing that she actually wanted in some sort of coping mechanism to protect her from feeling the hurt of not having the thing that she wanted. And I feel like we still see echoes of that, although it's not as prominent in this volume. Something else that we see is because Tomoko has more friends, we're starting to get scenes where Tomoko isn't in the scene, if that makes sense. So previously, the focus on almost every single scene was just on Tomoko, maybe Tomoko's brother, but primarily just on Tomoko. So Tomoko was in every scene because she was the only person we knew in the series, and we were just experiencing her extreme loneliness and social anxiety and depression and all the horrible things that she was experiencing. But now that Tomoko has connections, we've built up other characters, sometimes Tomoko isn't even in the scenes that we're experiencing, or she will leave a scene and will stay with the scene to see what the people are saying. And in this, we're starting to notice there is a rather mean girl in the school who tends to mock Tomoko behind her back. I mean, these things happen all the time. People can be cruel, making fun of someone behind their back. But we're starting to see that maybe in the past she experienced getting a lot of support for the comments she was making about Tomoko. And Tomoko can be a little bit awkward. Does not justify making fun of someone or talking bad about someone behind their back. But we get the feeling that this girl used to experience more support, but slowly but surely, Tomoko is starting to make friends and make connections. So the girls who previously supported this rather mean girl are no longer experiencing or giving this mean girl her support. And I feel like that's kind of nice to see, as people aren't laughing at her jokes or going along with Tomoko, which means that people are truly seeing that she's a good person, not the mean girl. Tomoko is a good person or someone that they can be friends with, and therefore they no longer want to make fun of her behind their back. Another big theme in volume 14 is Golden Week. Golden Week, which I had not really heard of before, don't know much about, but I take it to be a time in which high school seniors go and tour college campuses of colleges they're thinking of applying to. Now, we tour colleges here in the United States, but for me, it was just looking at times or days that I could go tour a college and selecting it. It wasn't like there was one specific week where all the colleges could be toured. Of course, I didn't go to like a super high tier college, so maybe all the like Ivy Leagues go at once. But in the United States, at least for me and all my friends and everyone I know, we just kind of picked random days and would get the day off school in high school so we could go tour colleges that were interesting to us. But in Japan, it sounds like they have one specific week that seems very dedicated to this. And Tomoko finds during this week, she has plans almost every single day, something that she never really has experienced before. And she's starting to think about life after high school and what that could mean and what college means for her, which I don't know if the series is going to continue into college. I think that's going to be an interesting way to continue the series, but I'm not sure because I have not read past volume 16. And in volume 16, she was still in high school. So we're going to see where the series goes, but we do have this focus on Golden Week in this. And another minor point in this, or not minor point, but a point in volume 14 is her relationship with Ki-chan, her cousin. Ki-chan is a young girl. She's Tomoko's cousin who comes to visit every once in a while. And this time when Ki-chan comes to visit, Tomoko no longer feels pressure to impress Ki-chan or, portray her life as something that it's not. In previous entries in the series, Tomoko has played up the fact that maybe she has a boyfriend or she's so knowledgeable or she's so popular. But this time, Tomoko doesn't feel the pressure because she really is starting to be a little bit more comfortable in her own skin, which I feel like is a big sign of maturity. I feel like particularly young teens are really caught up in wanting to appear a certain way to friends, to others. They want to impress other people. It's a big part of human development, I think. I think almost every teen goes through this time where they desperately want to fit in and they desperately want to impress other people. But Tomoko has matured a little bit, and I think she cares a little bit less. And I do find that the older people get, the less they seem to care about impressing their peers and more they care about just living their life, spending time with their friends, and being who they really are. At least people who are mature, there are obviously going to be people throughout life who care about impressing their friends or impressing their peers. But Tomoko, I feel like, has matured, and it really shows in her relationship with Ki-chan. As I mentioned, this is a reread, so I was a little bit familiar with this, but we're starting to get to the point in the series where I don't remember anything that happens or very little of what happens, and I only read through volume 16, I did check, so I'm excited to see where this series goes, and I'm excited to keep reading this series. I want to see what volume 15 has, what volume 15 says, and I want to know how this series progresses and see Tomoko's continual growth. If you have any thoughts, feelings on this series that you want to share, put it in the comments below. I love to read them. I love to receive them. If you have any manga series, manga suggestions that you would like to suggest to me, please also leave that in the comments below. I love getting suggestions, and as I follow up or close out some series that I'm reading right now, I'm always looking for new suggestions to start reading. So put those below and I would love to read them. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.